Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who's one of our favorites out there in the fight. General, good to see you. Before I get into your court case, your ongoing fight with Planned Parenthood, which is because he's battling Planned Parenthood in the state of Missouri, I got to get your reaction to the conviction that came out of Delaware today of Hunter Biden. I kind of am worried that, they're going to convict him of this, the easiest of charges, just because the harder ones all implicate Joe.
I think that's absolutely right. I mean, great. The Hunter, the Biden crime family should be indicted and convicted for multiple offenses. But you're correct in that they chose the lowest tier offense. I mean, filling out a document to obtain a firearm while abusing controlled substances. Like, yeah, that was the easiest one to prove. Hopefully that's not the end of this. I think we see this time and time again in the two-tier justice system that if you have a D next to your name, maybe they slap you on the wrist and you go about your business, or they just ignore you altogether. If you have an R against next to your name, they're going to throw the book at you. And so I am pleased that justice is served here and Hunter Biden stands convicted of a federal offense. This better not be the end, or we will continue to lose faith in our criminal justice system.
No, I agree with you on that. We're talking to Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey on just getting his opinion, the reaction to the Hunter Biden verdict, too. Because the trial for the tax case, that doesn't happen until September. And this one, about the 4473, I get it. It seems like a lot of people are wondering, well, the Cantor v. Barr case, you shouldn't have, if they're nonviolent, whatever, it's an abridgment of the Second Amendment rights. But I don't look at it that way. Am I wrong in thinking that this is what Democrats wanted? This is the law they wanted. They advocated for it. They grifted off of it. I feel like we're pointing out their hypocrisy by saying, well, you got to live under the law that you wanted all of us to follow, that you're now demanding exceptions for because it's the president's son?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's dripping with irony that the left causes problems by perverting or refusing to enforce the law and then demands that new laws be enacted that they will then also not enforce. It's kind of this like self-perpetuating cycle of problems that they cause. And yeah, no, I completely agree. Look, there's one standard of law. It's objective. It should apply to Hunter Biden just like it would apply to you and me. Obviously, Hunter Biden, there are other investigations that I believe should lead to further criminal proceedings. Mm-hmm. And if the DOJ ignores those other cases and says, oh, we got him on this, we're going to let him go on everything else, that will be a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah, and the laptop, we had 80 some odd, government bureaucrats, including heads of, NSA, CIA, FBI, that were coming out saying, oh, this laptop is all fake, it's Russian misinformation. Then they admit it's real. Then it's entered into evidence at this court case. I feel like we're all owed an apology here.
Oh, I think it goes deeper than that, Dana. You're absolutely right. It's part of Missouri v. Biden, our lawsuit against the federal government for censorship on big tech, which, by the way, we were within days of receiving an opinion from the United States Supreme Court. But in that case, we uncovered that the FBI was in possession of the Hunter Biden laptop 1 year before the story broke, knew of its authenticity, and then planted the seed of doubt with big tech social media, meeting with big tech social media moguls in Silicon Valley with increased frequency in the days, weeks, and months leading up to that story breaking. And then there was a secret communication on the eve of the New York Post publishing that story that then caused that story to be suppressed. If that isn't election interference, I don't know what is. And let's put it in context. Alvin Bragg just convicted President Trump of using a law firm and saying that he somehow using that law firm to contract to purchase a product was election interference because he intended to eliminate that information from public discourse during a campaign. Okay, if that is election interference, then how about stealing the Hunter Biden laptop, hiding it, and then telling everyone it wasn't real? I mean, those individuals should be charged with a criminal offense as well.
You just gave me an idea, General, talking about election interference. Hillary Clinton, based in New York, purchasing a product from Fusion GPS and laundering this discredited stuff through the press to then get a surveillance warrant without disclosing that it's all information she paid for. Would that not be considered election interference? And why was she never charged in the state of New York for that?
Well, I think to your earlier point about Hunter Biden and the law under which he's now stands convicted, the left wants to talk out of both sides of their mouth. Yeah. They want these laws in place and they want to abuse those laws to go after political opponents, but then they don't like it when they get used against them. And the genie's out of the bottle at this point. They can't cry foul anymore. They're the ones that have abandoned actual law enforcement, on the streets of New York, the crimes that are going on in the subway and in the streets and the homelessness and the drug use and the murders and rapes in favor of weaponizing the criminal justice system to go after political opponents. So they can't now cry foul when Hunter Biden stands convicted and the right starts using the tools that are on the books, the legitimate plain text of the law to hold others accountable.
Yeah, they wanted the rule of the law. This is the rule of the law. This is the law that they wanted. We're talking with Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who's been in court fighting to stop Planned Parenthood from taking teens out of state for secret abortions. And this comes from this video that Project Veritas had put out, where a 13-year-old girl taken into a Planned Parenthood by a male they're seeking an abortion. It was this video, this undercover, this investigation. And they were saying, well, we can't do it because it's illegal, but we can totally send you out of state, and we can provide a letter and cut our letterhead off and do all of this other stuff to hide the fact that we're involved and we're making these referrals. 13 years old. I mean, the fact that they didn't stop and go, you're 13 years old, and who are you? Are you her father? Like, the fact that was not even asked. These are women who didn't even ask this question. Where is their maternal instinct?
Mandatory reporters under the laws of the state of Missouri. A 13-year-old who has been subjected to sexual contact is a victim of a crime. A 13-year-old can't consent to sex under the laws of the state of Missouri. And so this organization was a mandatory reporter who had to report that to law enforcement for investigation, and instead conspired to conceal that criminal offense in order to traffic minors out of state for abortions and forge documents in the process. I mean, this is absolutely deplorable behavior. Planned Parenthood has a long history in the state of Missouri of putting the destruction of human life ahead of the health and safety of women and children. They were doing it back when Josh Hawley was Attorney General, and he uncovered that they were using a moldy abortion machine on women. This is not a machine that was sitting in a corner. This is one that they refused to clean and then continued to use in these procedures. Under my predecessor, Eric Schmidt, he uncovered that they were refusing to comply with mandatory reporting laws as it relates to the procedures that they were performing and the necessary warnings to the patients. They weren't abiding by state statute. And now this, in late 2023, my office launched this lawsuit to get an injunction, is continuing to investigate this matter. And we're not going to let Planned Parenthood escape. They flaunted willful violations of the laws in the past. This is a documented history. And no one should be convinced that they have the best interests of or health of their patients at heart here. All they're interested in is the destruction of human life.
Well, and that's where they make the majority of their money. Everyone always says, oh, it's these other services. They make hand over fist, according to their own publicly reported financials. They make hand over fist at abortion. That is their number one moneymaker. So, you know, they're looking at it like, oh, this is our business, the destruction of life. They're wanting to protect it. But your point about they're mandatory reporters, that's a 13-year-old. That's a statutory rape offense. I mean, that girl is a victim. And then it makes you wonder, well, how many more instances, General, are there of this sort of age representation that we don't know about? Because, you know, child trafficking with the open border, this is a major issue. What have they seen that they're not reporting?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. That's why we need to push this lawsuit forward to put a stop to it. I mean, again, there's a presumption in the law that people don't brag about the commission of offenses. That's why there's a hearsay exception for a statement against interest. And that's exactly what was captured on the Project Veritas video. There were employees, agents of Planned Parenthood bragging about this criminal enterprise that conspires to violate the laws of the state of Missouri and traffic minors out of state for abortions without parental consent.
Yeah. I was reading that Planned Parenthood was asking the judge in this case to throw out the suit that's on this video. Why? I realize they don't want to be litigated against, but I mean, it's pretty damning. I don't think you can just disregard this now.
No, I think that's absolutely right. You know, one of their arguments is that they have a First Amendment right to encourage people to get abortions, which
cutting off the letterhead is not a First Amendment. That's an action.
That's a forgery. That's making a false document, right? That's authenticating a false document. So yeah, look, the First Amendment does not extend to protect criminal behavior. And certainly that's what we have alleged in our petition. So we anticipate the judge will allow this lawsuit to move forward, and we will continue to push it forward in order to obtain discovery and hold wrongdoers accountable.
Well, we appreciate your fight in protecting our kids to do this, because that was just shocking. I watched that video twice, and at no point did any of those women with their badges working there at Planned Parenthood show any kind of concern for the 13-year-old that was there looking at this older man that brought this girl in. Not an ounce of concern for a crime that was committed against her, for the situation that she was in, for the manipulation she may be undergoing to even be there talking to them. Not a single ounce of concern. I mean, I don't know how, as a person or as a female or as anybody, as a health professional, which, you know, that's whether they are or not is to be said. could sit there in that situation and not immediately object and speak up to that. They talked to him like they were just, like he was buying a car.
Dana, they were laughing and joking. I mean, they think it's a joke. They think the laws of the state of Missouri are a joke. They think the health and welfare of this young 13-year-old girl who came to them and reported to have been a victim of a sexual assault. They thought that was a joke. They thought it was funny. I mean, it is absolutely shameful. It's disgusting. But again, this is a pattern of behavior and should surprise no one. I mean, the veil has been lifted at this point. Yeah. Anyone who comes to you and says that Planned Parenthood is providing legitimate health care is deceiving themselves.
Exactly. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, we so appreciate your fight against all of this, and we look forward to having you back and talking to you again soon. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate your time.